There we go.
Oh my gosh, it's Suzilla.
It's Susie and Matt.
Hi, gang. We're back. We have gotten through the enrollment period, which was basically 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days a week for how many weeks?
A long time.
A long time.
Our last episode we broadcast was October 10th.
Okay,
so it was our longest break.
Yeah, and that was we've been going so November, December. So it's been 3 months, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we were not on vacation. We weren't slacking. We were helping our clients.
Yeah, we were usually at this time working with another client.
Yeah, I mean at this point at 7 o'clock in the morning, we were doing 7 a.m. appointments, and we were doing appointments all the way to 7 p.m. We did not mess around this year. 2024 was a watershed year for a lot of different things. One of the things we must have talked about the market disruption for Medicare Advantage because it was the latter part of October.
No, because October 10th, the last one we did.
Oh no, we couldn't. We couldn't talk about it then.
Yeah, because that was we were talking. Our episode was on consent and the importance of consent.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because we had a bunch of our clients yoinked from us without their consent.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened there. There was a major market disruption for Medicare Advantage plans, and so we had a major player leave Central Washington.
Well, we had a couple players that ended up
one major player, one minor player leave Central Washington.
Left with plans, and that brings us to the whole set it and forget it concept.
Right, exactly.
And we're still cleaning up from that.
Oh yeah, we're not done yet. What a lot of folks do, especially when it comes to Medicare, because the plans are generally pretty stable, is you just enroll and you let it go. And you just let it roll over and roll over and roll over and roll over every year. And in 2024 rather, that was a giant mistake for some people. Now, to be fair, these insurance companies were required by law and did send out letters to all of their clients.
But they didn't read them.
Oh gosh, no. Saying, hey, we're leaving the market. You have to if you don't do anything, you're going to revert back to original Medicare without prescription coverage. A lot of people took care of that. We had about 12,000, 15,000 people here in Washington state that affected.
Well, we see this disruption in markets across multiple industries since this very notion of the set it and forget it by Ron Popeil.
Thank you, Ron Popeil.
Bless his heart for doing that. Because, I mean, in the 80s, we saw the savings and loans collapse.
That's true. Put your money in here. We'll take care of it, and you can just forget about it, and it'll be safe.
You know, I can't remember what collapse we saw in the 90s, but I'm sure there was at least one or two.
Probably, yeah. Don't forget the and then in the 2000s we had the stock market and the housing.
Oh, we had the .com.
The .com burst.
Everyone was like, "Oh, hey, let's put our money in here. This is go forever." Burst.
If anyone thought their .com was going to go forever, they were morons.
No, they thought that they were going to build up something, this vaporware, and then sell it off to the next company.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's different. Then we saw definitely the whole real estate market crash of 2008.
Yeah, that was significant.
So we go through these market disruptions, and there are people who bank on them remaining the same. And it's this fallacy of not paying attention and getting burned by it.
Yeah. Yes. And that's why people like financial advisors and insurance agents and all the like exist, to help keep an eye on things for you. But if you're not working with them, you don't know what they're finding out.
Well, you don't know if they're working, because I mean, we've had major changes in the financial markets and the advisors over the last 12, 14 years.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the fiduciary rules.
Oh my gosh, that's changed a lot. And then forward and backward and forward and backward and all over the place.
Yeah, and we're seeing, the hard markets in the insurance industry for property and casualty. So, that hey, let's stick with the same tried and true year after year.
Yeah. Well, what triggers people to make a move is if it's hitting their pocketbooks. The hard market change, the the increase of rates with property and casualty, with cars and houses, and the insurance for those, people will not mess with it unless their rates change. And that's what's happened over the last couple of years. So we've had a lot of movement in that.
Mm-hmm.
It's been hard to get people into something that is cheaper necessarily, but sometimes it's just a matter of finding a plan that is equivalent but better coverage.
Well, it's depends on a lot of different factors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our Office of the Insurance Commission got to the point where they said, "Hey, you got to explain why your rates are increasing to the clients."
Yeah, because they kind of were just like, la, 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 here, we're going to raise our rates because we said so.
Yeah, and it's a very important aspect to being an agent to be able to explain what is going on.
Exactly. And that's where, when the insurance companies are opaque about why, it really puts the onus on the face-to-face, in the office conversation, because you've got this poor agent sitting here going, they raise their rates because, and that's the only reason they've got is because they did.
Bless them for using an agent.
Yeah, that right there.
Then they can see face-to-face someone in their community that actually cares about what is going on and is sharing that.
That's true. That is absolutely true. If you're just enrolling in plans, yourself online, that's a plan that works for some people. It's not always but you don't have that human being to ask why.
Well, you're changing. You're doing what you're doing is you're exchanging that convenience.
Mm-hmm.
And you're banking on that reality system holding constant.
Yeah, that
using that online tool is a set it and forget it.
Yeah,
the insurance companies,
and they want you to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, they're so much happier when you do that, because they'll creep your rates up, and they'll do the whole frog in a boil in a pan of water analogy.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're not spending any money on customer service.
No.
What
little bit they do have is outsourced.
It's outsourced. It's harder to get a hold of them, instead of being able to go into an office
and talk to your person.
Or your people.
Right. Who can steer you into something, either explain what's going on so at least you understand it. B, maybe help you shop for something else. That's probably just A and B.
Yeah, but the hey, let's shop online is a set it and forget it. Mm-hmm. It's, hey, my community is behaving perfectly and no one needs my consumer dollars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the funny thing about, you say, set it and forget it and online, and that is exactly the whole Ron Popeil model was mail order.
Yeah.
Oh, call us up and buy this off the TV. Because we said so.
Yeah, and it's you're like looking at it, and it's like you're missing that human interaction element that is so critical to create a lasting experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, that's one of the things that we provide here at Wenatchee Insurance is a positive. We do our best to make it a positive experience, even if you're not enjoying the financial aspect of what your plan's doing.
Well, yeah, and it's not boring. It's this is stuff that impacts everyone's lives, and we have to explain it in a manner that is entertaining and informative at the same time. Mm-hmm. I've gotten to the point where I use the French fry model for a deductible.
The French fry model?
The French fry model for a deductible.
I don't think I've heard that one for you.
A deductible is like your order of fries.
Okay.
And you have to eat your fries before you get to the burger. The larger the fries, the larger the amount, is you have to get to the burger. Huh. Not everyone wants to eat a whole lot of fries to get to that burger. And I've had a couple of guys finally click on it. Oh, yeah, that's why I want a smaller deductible.
Because you don't want to fill up on French fries.
You don't want to fill up on French fries.
See, the way I eat my burgers and fries is I always eat the burger first. So I like a deductible wave plan.
Exactly. So yeah, you're instinctively doing it. And then as soon as you start to do burgers and fries, it's like, okay, yeah, I can get behind that understanding. And then you got some that you can, sidestep that burger with a copay. And it's like, oh, hey, you got to see, a $1 copay to your primary card. So yeah, you take a cheap bite.
Cheap bite. I like
cheap bite because it's going to nibble away your fries, and you don't even get a taste of the fries. You're tasting that burger. So yeah, the whole set it and forget it mentality of hey, let's put it on cruise control is incredibly dangerous.
It is. It will ultimately bite you in the butt. In the best case of butt biting right now is I set it and forget my Medicare Advantage plan, and I didn't read my mail, so I suddenly don't have a Medicare Advantage plan at all.
Yes.
And that's happening. We got phone calls the third day of January, second day of January.
It's always the second
day of January. People going, I just found out I don't have my coverage anymore. It's like, no, you don't. Did you read your mail? No. Okay, get your butt in here. We can fix this as long as we do it before the end of February. We can get something going for you.
Yeah, I had one yesterday that I called up because they were like, "Oh, I have an appointment on Friday, 2 days. However, I need a plan to start February 1st." And I'm like, "Well, the rule of 15, they would be outside of that window just on that."
Yeah.
So I had to call them up and say, hey, we need to do this today, and this is why.
Was it an annual enrollment period situation? Was it a special enrollment period situation?
It would have been special enrollment because they lost coverage, but because of the
rule of 15.
The rule of 15 and in open enrollments, you don't have
that extra
special enrollments.
Yeah, that last open enrollments. Yeah, you've got that last little. When you lose coverage, there's a little bit of grace there, but not so much. And right now, less so.
So yeah, they're less so, and it's like, okay.
No, let's get this done now.
Yeah. So if I was on set and forget it mode, they would have been out of luck when they rolled in Friday.
Probably. We don't know. We would have run the numbers. They might have qualified for the Cascade Care special enrollment.
And they wouldn't have a February 1st start date.
Probably not. No.
And we've seen that time and time again. We've had to juggle something and say, hey, this has got to change, and this is why.
Well, the thing about health insurance is people don't understand that there are enrollment periods at all. I mean, we've been at this for over a decade, and
yeah, this was our 11th open enrollment.
And one thing that is still surprises people every year is, I thought I could just get a plan. No, there's enrollment periods. There's always been enrollment periods. It just when you've had insurance through an employer, you never noticed it because you set it and forget it.
Yeah,
they hand you this page, you sign it, and you send it back, and you get the same plan over and over and over again, or some variant of it.
It's some variant usually, and that model it's because it's handed to you.
Yeah, it's because
it's not you have to go get it. It's handed to you.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, here's 3 choices, and I don't know, pick that one. This is the one I had last time. I'll go with that one. This one's cheap. I'll go with that one. You don't actually pay attention to what you're doing. It's always good to pay attention to what you're doing in that regard.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. And we've had people roll in, and it's like, I didn't know I had to pay for Medicare.
Yeah.
Since the dawn of Medicare, you've had a payment for a portion of it.
Paid for Medicare Part B. Yep. Now you can earn your Part A through payroll taxes, get your hospital coverage taken care of. If you don't make that, you can buy a plan. You've always had a Part B premium. You've always got copays. You've always got coinsurances. Medicare does not equate free health insurance.
So that's kind of a set it and forget it for ignorance.
There you go.
Because they hear this free. They don't have to manually do anything.
It's less manual. Once you've got it set up, it can be pretty automatic, but you do have to keep an eye on it because of things like this last year's market disruption.
Yeah.
And
the last 20 years, we've seen multiple market disruptions when it's come to health and Medicare insurance.
Absolutely. We found that, We had a Medigap plan leave the market, become completely unavailable. And the rates you could keep it if you had it, but the rates shot out of line.
Yeah, we've seen multiple companies though over the years do that. We've seen rate increases with the under 65 plans. I'm expecting to see another one if there's not a failure in an act of Congress. We're going
to see it. It's going to be really interesting in 2026.
We know that
do not set and forget for next year.
We saw that Cascade Care Savings, because it's been such a success in Washington State. This is for the under 250%. They had extra funds lowering their cost of their insurance. We had immigrants, regardless of their immigration status,
getting able to get help. Break, yep. The plan, you can still enroll, but you can't get the price break.
You don't get the price breaks.
That was so successful that they drained the financial pot.
Well, they didn't plan hard enough.
No.
Yeah, it's one of those,
and I don't know if it's going to be replenished or not.
No, it's going to be one of the questions when I go to Olympia next Tuesday. I'm going to make sure I do that. Hey, what about this?
Yeah,
because that's one of those important things, because it is the largest percentage of uninsured people in our area is that immigrants, regardless of status, category.
Exactly. And unfortunately, it was unfortunate that we lost that dollar, that fund. It's just, it needs to be addressed again.
Yeah. So it's a continual battle. It's a continuous conversation with legislators, because legislators are the one that drive insurance.
Yeah. Unfortunately, insurance and politics are inexorably tangled.
Well, it's because insurance is just a financial tool.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it is.
And politics is all about finances, because you're taking different tax monies, you're putting it in a pool, and you're dispersing them.
Yeah, but what does that have? Why does that impact a private company that's created a policy?
It operates in the same manner.
So why are politicians involved in it?
Because it needs regulation, or you got people that will put it into a pool never to use it again.
See, it's all about regulation.
Yeah. Regulation is critical in
the
insurance
industry. There's a difference between regulation and rulemaking, though. I mean, kind of, sort of. But it seems like there's too many fingers involved. I mean, there's regulation, which tells me, hey, we're just going to make sure that you're doing it right. And then there's the politicians who go in there and make essentially by their tweaks and finagles, make the policies.
Okay, the rulemaking you've got moves faster than lawmakers making regulation.
True.
They're trying to the experts are trying to get ahead of the problem. A good example of that is the consent rules.
Okay.
Because we've seen over the last 2-3 years a tremendous amount of brokers switching plans. So they're trying to get a handle on that, so that the client who signs up with the person that they want, maintains that person.
Right. What we were running into on the federal level, and I don't really know how they were doing this, but there was some wholesale yoinkage, I guess, for lack of terminology. People were just being picked up and moved over without the consent of the client. And I don't know how they could do that, because on the Washington State Exchange, we've always had to make an informed consent change. The client has to request the change. Usually. Yeah, that's true. We've run into it with some of the big groups run by the how do I want to put it? I don't know. We've run into it with navigators sometimes.
Well, we've had navigators leave. We've had our situation where
ours was picked up and moved.
We've seen it before. Actually, a good example, leaving us out of it, was there was a period where there was brokers that were sharing clients, and the exchange went in there and said no, and severed the relationship with both. It happened about 5-6 years ago.
I remember it, but I don't remember the details.
Yeah, I actually had I have enough clients at that time that I occasionally see those things, and it was annoying. Early days, you couldn't have a broker and navigate at the same time,
right?
So
it was a fight.
It was a fight back and forth,
right? Which was really dumb because it basically navigators and brokers are they have different rules and regulations. They both accomplish the same thing in assisting the client, but
similar. They're not the same.
No, because a navigator can't advise. A navigator can show you, teach you how to navigate through the program, navigator, but can't advise you on which plan's the right choice for you, whereas a broker can. They can be complementary to each other.
They can be. We've seen it's one of those ones that's up for debate.
Yeah.
And it's really needs to be debated. Unfortunately, because of how contracts are done, you really cannot talk about the negative sides of things. That's one of the caveats is once you have a license and you've got certain affiliations, you are prevented from being truly objective in driving change and improvement into a system.
Yeah, it does make it more difficult.
So the only ones that are left that are able to drive are the large corporate interests that hold the contracts. So that they become the keepers of the set it and forget it mentality. So your people who are interacting with the clients are prevented from actually making any of that significant changes to improve the system. True.
Now, that being said, the client still needs to be aware of who they're working with. They need to be aware of their situation. They need to read their mail, is what it boils down to. And if you don't like what you see, do something about it.
Oh, absolutely. I actually had to use my standard line, always pay your taxes, always read your mail.
Yep.
I've had to use that more times this year than any
ever
other year
before because people were not reading their stinking mail. You know?
I have encountered more than one that didn't pay their taxes.
Oh. That's interesting.
Because we work with people of all walks of life.
Oh, yeah. We've had people that are advised, you don't make enough money, don't worry about filing taxes.
And I will say they are incorrectly advised because you can pull out the IRS code and the backdrop for the Affordable Care Act for the evaluate how you are is you file your taxes.
Yep. And if you don't file... If you file your taxes and you file for $0, which is absolutely okay, you continue to be in this. You continue to be able to use the system in a with fewer seams. I don't want to say seamless; it's never seamless, but with fewer seams.
Yeah, and and right now we've got the 1095s coming out, and I know that there's going to be people come to us asking us for 1095s,
and that's cool. We're happy to help with that. We just bought paper.
We just bought paper, and years ago we started the process. If someone wants their 1095 and we are connected to them, we will print them.
Yep. You got to be connected to us.
That's the rule.
Yeah. I mean, we can't even see it unless we're connected to you as your broker. And we want to be, and the thing is, if you connect with us as your broker, we're going to be there to help you.
Yeah.
And that's why a set it and forget it's kind of stupid because you don't get that extra level of help.
Well, you're set it and forget it, and you're assuming that everything's going to work pristine.
Nothing ever works. The only constant in the universe is change.
If everything worked perfectly, we wouldn't need insurance.
There you go. That's absolutely true.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's like, we do insurance. It's layers upon layers upon layers of different thoughts. I've had people come to us and it's like, what about this? And well, you need a plan for that. Well, I'm charging rent. You
need a plan for
that. You need a plan for that because money's changing hands.
And that's why Matt likes parfaits for dessert.
Yes, it's got layers. And I try not to be an onion because onions have layers too.
Yes, but he's not very stinky. He smells good most of the time.
Most of the good. Yeah, I got my tobacco beard oil on.
Is it tobacco-y? I thought it was I thought it was the vanilla.
It's the vanilla tobacco.
Oh, he smells nice. He's
Yeah.
not a smoker.
No.
So it doesn't have that tobacco smoke smell, but it's that kind of rich, multi-layered depth smell. He smells good today, is what. No, I don't love him. No, not at all.
So but this set it and forget it from the 80s.
You can't. You couldn't then.
Well, there are people who try.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And they get caught out on it and they complain.
And it's why we've looked at that model and it's like we've never done it.
Mm-mm. Insurance is not a crock pot.
No.
You can't just throw the roast in there and forget about it.
No. Because you got to put some time and effort into it,
and not even a lot. Just read your stinking mail and see what the changes are going to be. Every October, your health insurance plan sends you a letter. Did you know that? They do. They send you a letter saying, this is what your plan is doing now. This is what your plan is going to do next year. It's called an annual notification of change. They're required by law to send that. At very least, read that.
Yeah, and if you don't understand that, you need to talk to someone who does.
Exactly.
And not your Uncle Fred. Who
not unless your Uncle Fred is your agent.
Yeah, and that's one of the crazy things is like, oh, hey, let's go to the experts that we don't know that have no bearing on you or your community.
I'm just going to put this on Reddit and see what happens. Oy.
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of those Reddits, and usually it's like, go find someone local to help you with that, help you
interpret this.
Well, it was just to help interpret. Usually it's file the application.
Oh yeah, that too.
And then there's other people who walk in and they've got an immaculate application, and it's like, oh, well, you need this one thing here, and there you go, you get tax credits.
Yeah.
Or hey, this is what this means.
Mm-hmm.
And it changes their whole perspective.
Uh-huh. It's just that it's using the experience of the experts. Mm-hmm. I've gone through thousands of applications, and even if it's somebody new that's got a policy, that's got an application that's been working fine, I will take it from step 1 to step 8, or however many steps are. I never counted, just to make sure they haven't missed a pitfall. Something as simple as an authorized representative. People skip that all the time.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
And because early on, we ran into a bunch of different assisters that would put their name in there.
Yeah. I still once in a while find that.
I found a couple this year too.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. This is how I describe an in-person assister. You don't have to have one.
No.
However, it is someone who loves and cares about you that could call in on your behalf and make changes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Make changes.
Do you want that? And as soon as I describe it that way, I've never once had a client say, hey, could you be that? Because it's just a horrible idea to have your assister do that.
Mm-hmm. It really is. Because assisters get fired, assisters retire, assisters die. You want somebody that you know and love.
Yeah.
It's
kind of like having a godfather.
There you go. The authorized representative, I like to have, if you've got a married couple on a policy, I like to have both, one be the primary and one be the authorized representative.
Oh, yeah.
That just seems to be, it's like that way I can talk to both of you about this. Because this is a heavily HIPAA protected program, I'm only going to talk to the person who's primary unless there's a specifically called out authorized representative.
Yeah.
Period. End of discussion. That's law. And I'm not going to put my license at risk because you were married to Joni for 20 years and you say you're still married to Joni. I don't know what your and Joni's relationship is. You could be in the process of breaking up and fishing for information.
And you don't fall for that set it and forget it.
No.
And that's usually what those traps are, is set it and forget it traps. It's
yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna assume that they're still married and everything's going good.
Uh-huh.
There's been people that try to sell their ex's houses.
Yeah. I know the before HIPAA started, And this is one of the reasons why HIPAA exists. And this is a story that I had. I was working in a pharmacy. It wasn't the pharmacy I was working at, but it was in one of our sister stores. A man had come to the pharmacy saying, hey, I need my wife's med list. And it's like, okay, here, you're the husband. And again, this was before HIPAA. Here's the list. And he took that list and he took her to court. And he used that list that showed her antidepressants to try and get custody of the kids as an unfit parent.
Yep.
That's why HIPAA exists. And I tell that story all the time and people get it.
Mm-hmm.
You got it. It's, well, I've been married to them for 30 years. Like, yeah, that's great. What if you're not, I don't know that. I don't know your relationship. I can't trust it. I'm not going to set and forget because you said so. No, I got to have documentation that it's okay to do this.
No.
Yep. Trust, documentation, consent. I will always impress consent. Don't set it and forget it. Don't expect the world to keep spinning in the same way 24/7, because the only constant in the universe is change.
And that's a perfect place to leave it. So, hey, have a good week.
Yep. We will talk to you again next week, assuming things keep going well for us. And I have no reason to believe they won't. Bye.
Bye.